How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. If you guys are new here, do me a huge favor, go down and subscribe before we get started into today's video. You guys want to know how I am? Well, I am very cold because it is 10 degrees outside. But in today's video, I'm going to give you guys 10 reasons why you guys should look into or you should buy a Mustang GT. I think the best way to explain this would be to take it out for a little drive. So let's get some heat into this motor, get a little cold start up, and take it out. So I think first thing, we need to get a cold start up. Yeah, this thing sounds really good, but let's get this on the road and talk about 10 reasons why you need to look into getting one of these cars. It's a very, very cold day outside today. It is probably, my car says 19, but it's more like 10 degrees right now according to the phone. The car was in the garage, so it's gonna take a second to catch up to actually how cold it is. But let's talk about the first thing, the first reason why you need to look into one of these cars. And that would be the body style and the look of the car. The S550 body style is now officially done. This is the last year they're gonna produce some 2024 model years, which are gonna come out fall of next year, are going to be the new S650 Mustangs. This is one of my favorite Mustang body styles of all time, and it's my favorite modern day Mustang body style. It's aggressive, but it's not too big, not too bulky. The S197 generation that came before this is a very good looking car, but to me, it's become a little bit dated in terms of the interior, in terms of just everything just kind of seems a little old. The only car that really stands out to me in that generation is the GT500. The normal GTs and like the base models, for me, they didn't age all too well. This Mustang seems like it has aged really well since 2015. The car is going to be just about 9 years old next year. And that brings me to number 2, the motor. The Coyote motors are some of the best modern day V8s in terms of tunability, reliability, and just like practicality, even if that makes sense. This car can get you 27 miles to the gallon on the highway with a manual. The 10-speed can probably get you more. I went from where I live in Wisconsin to Detroit. Well, it was probably like 600 miles for the round trip or something like that. I averaged 28 miles to the gallon both ways, which is insane. Which brings me to the tunability. This car makes 460 horsepower from factory, which dynos to about 410 to 420 horsepower, depending on the dyno. That's a lot of power, but it's really easy to jump 80 wheel horsepower. To get to 500 wheel horsepower in these cars, it is not too hard. You do some bolt-on modifications, some tuning, some E85, because the injectors are already set up to do so. Very minor modifications, a couple of $1,000s, you can have these cars pushing 500 wheel horsepower. And then this motor on top of all of those things is a dual overhead cam, which sings to the moon. 7,500 RPM redline. It's a monster. Not to mention, it sounds like this. Just a little taste. It's an amazing motor on an amazing platform. Which brings me into the third thing, the history of the Mustang, right? It's not super big, but this car has a long history of being one of the best sports cars, or even pony cars back in the day, on the market. It, to this day, still remains one of the best options for sports cars that you can buy. And having such a long history, there is a lot of Mustang owners out there. There is a lot of people who care about the brand. There's a lot of people who care about the Mustang name. And that goes a long way, because you can meet someone at a gas station and just, you know, they say, oh, I used to have a Mustang back in the day, or my friend used to have a Mustang back in the day, or whatever it is. A lot of people love these cars, and there's a really big community, and it's really cool to see that people actually care for something. Now, the fourth thing I'm going to mention is the fact that this car still comes with a manual transmission. And there was a trend in the automotive industry, just across the board, to throw the manuals out. At the time, it was the time where automatics were becoming faster and becoming more of a thing where people wanted to have autos, which was a very weird period, because now a manual car from that point in time is spiking in value. Manual Mercies, all of those things. But a lot of the American cars, including the Mustang, never got rid of the manuals. Now, number 5, I'm going to talk about the price, because these cars are very, very affordable. About $35,000 could get you this car. Low mileage, premium, 2019, so facelifted version, manual transmission. If you found a digital dash car, they would be a couple thousand more in some cases, but they were about $35,000 to $38,000. Under $40,000, all that performance you're getting for a pretty affordable price. You know, the average new car price is 30-ish, so you're looking at the used market for a $40,000 car. But you can get yourself a new Mustang for under $40,000, a new 5.0 for under $40,000 with the base model. Now, the 6th reason is going to be availability, which might seem a little weird, but at this point in time, cars are really hard to get. And no matter what Mustang you're looking for, there is a Mustang you can find in a 50-mile radius in most cases. Or you can go to, you know, a couple of Ford dealerships, and most likely one of the 3-4 dealerships you went to has some type of Mustang on the lot. One of the things you worry about in exotic cars or foreign cars is reliability. But more than just that, if you get an M car, you get an AMG car, the mechanics have to be certified to work on those cars. You have to have a certified M dealership or a certified AMG dealership. And in some cases, those don't exist everywhere. Any Ford dealership will service one of these cars, and any Ford dealership will work on a Mustang. That brings me to point number 7, reliability. These cars are actually pretty reliable. Now, the transmissions are a little finicky. I will say that. I am aware of that. I've had some issues with it myself. Some people have issues, some people don't. One thing I will say is these motors are very solid. There are very few cases of any type of issues, any type of problems, any type of anything going on with these cars. And the reason for that is the platform has existed for a decent amount of time. It hasn't existed unchanged. There has been some changes in between the 1st and 3rd and 2nd, and now 4th generation, I believe, Coyote motor. But some things that don't change are the basis of them, the things that they do to them, the parts they use, things like that. Since the 5.0 has been back, I have heard of very, very few things go wrong unless you treat them incorrectly. Now, point number 8 has to be, it's going to be one of the last cars that sound like that. I don't understand new government regulations, new government mandates. Everything wants to go electric. Everyone knows the new mandates, the new everything the government is trying to push on us. And the first things that apparently have to go are these cars. Ford, Chevy, you know, Lamborghini, Porsche, all of these manufacturers are building electric cars. And soon enough, that's all they're going to be building. And there's not going to be cars like this for much longer, which is very unfortunate. So I think you should take the opportunity, if you're looking for it, to buy one of these cars before they're gone, before you're not going to be able to buy a new one, before the whole thing goes down where we can't even drive these cars. Now, I don't think that point will ever come in our lifetimes, but it's so unfortunate to see the world going in a way that the media wants it to go in, which is going away from things like this. Now, point number 9 has to be one of the biggest things for a lot of people. The amount of parts available, modifications available for this platform. You can buy anything you want in terms of bumpers, valances, spoilers, you know, shifters, anything that you would want to do to this car. there is something or someone who has thought of it and made the product. Exhaust options, header options, supercharger options. You want more power? You can do it. You want to build a 1,000 horsepower Mustang with simple modifications? It's there. You can spend the money, you know, the $6,000-$7,000 for a supercharger kit and get it done. The aftermarket support is there, which is huge. And last but not least is something kind of simple, a little bit boring, but the practicality. There's seats in the back. There's a big trunk in the back. Now the seats in the back are not big enough for full-size adults, but extra luggage, bags, whatever it may be, whatever you want to carry in Mustang, you'll be able to. You can flip the seats down. There's lots of space in the car. It's not tight. It's not something that you can't daily. And that's what I do, or I have done with my car for the longest time. Drive it every day. Never complained about needing more space. You know, I'm not hauling tools. I'm not, you know, hauling wood or things like that, obviously. But backpacks, I've gone on trips with this car. I've gone down south with this car. But that's all I have for this one. Make sure you guys like and subscribe so you don't miss a video. If you guys found this informational, you guys own a Mustang, let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. And just like always, I will see you guys in the next video.